Welcome to the Billion Divas show. And it's a wonderful morning and a wonderful day today. And I'm delighted to introduce you to another diva, and I call her as the change maker diva, a very dear friend, Miss Almas Virani, with us. So, Almas, welcome to the Billion Divas show.
Hi, Bhavesh. So lovely to connect with you. I think we're meeting after what, more than a year. Of course, we're meeting most people after a year these days, but
Correct.
virtually also, I think we're meeting after a year and a half almost.
Absolutely. I think what has happened is though, the pandemic has kept us all friends and dear ones apart, but it has also kept us connected, through virtual platforms. And I think
Yeah,
with every bane, there is always a boon that I always say. With every sunset, there is a sunrise that comes in. So
beautiful.
delighted to have you here.
Yeah, God bless the internet.
Absolutely, absolutely. We never realized that internet will play such a important and an imperative role in our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah,
We figured out that social distancing and virtual connectivity will become the new way of living.
right.
Great. So before we start, once again, thank you so much for sparing your time and joining us.
Thank
Let
you
me
for inviting me.
formally introduce you. So, Ms. Almas Firani is a corporate trainer, podcaster, transformation coach, and a change maker. She has trained and coached over 35,000 people on leadership, communication, and mental health, which is a very, very important aspect in today's fast paced lives. An entrepreneur who changed lanes and has broken many cliches in her journey, author of an upcoming book, and I'm definitely looking forward to that book. I've heard a lot about it as well on the 11 Indian women change makers that have been, interviewed by Almas on this. She is a change maker who works on gender stereotyping and has a podcast called Beyond Cliche to create awareness on this very important subject, which is the burning issue in today's society. Uh, an entrepreneur with many hats, she is gearing up to launch a second podcast and her podcast coaching program. So, Almas, all the very best to you for that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So before we start, I'm delighted to have you, and we have a very, very interesting topic that we are covering: the cliche of being an entrepreneur unplugged. It's a very, very important aspect in today's startup or entrepreneurship journey
Yeah.
of an enterprise. And delighted to have your views and your experience from a journey that you have traversed. And I personally know how you have actually created that change, which normally people tend to ignore because of the societal pressures or log kya kahenge kind of a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so my first question, Almas, to you is, having donned several hats as a leadership at a leadership position to becoming an entrepreneur, what has been your learning curve?
So, Bhavesh, honestly, my learning curve has been in two areas of my life. It's been internal and external. And, the learnings that I've had internally have actually sort of created that ripple effect in my life, in the environment that I've created for myself. So I spent about 15 odd years of my life in running the corporate rat race, and I loved a lot about it because I was traveling. I had a fat paycheck. I had power and authority to do things, and I was learning a lot. I was challenging myself, but I reached a point where I was sort of getting tired of it, and I wanted to do more. But those 15 years, Bhavesh, taught me a lot, right? I'm someone who anticipates an opportunity and is the first one to get up and say, I want to do this. So I actually created my own career path. I would have been in a different space, in a different position in corporates, but training is something that I went out and actually seeked. So I reached out to a lot of people saying I want to do this, and that's how training happened. That's a long story, but since we're talking about learnings, I think for me, the one learning that I've had is I need to first of all, believe and accept that I can do something really well. I think as women, we tend to also undermine ourselves and our capabilities to doing things well, right? Especially in the corporate space. If you are in a male dominated, let's say, team or environment, and you want to sort of stand up and do more things, it's never easy, right? I went through several transitions in my corporate career where I got married. I also was on the family way. I took a break for a year and a half, but every time I kind of came back and delivered, I delivered more. So I think the first learning I had internally was I needed to accept that I'm equally capable as a man to do things, and I can do things really well. So I think believing in myself was my first learning, and that sort of created more opportunities for me. I think the second learning that I've had is it's very difficult sometimes to make that transition. But once you decide to make a transition in your life and you firmly believe in it, the universe also conspires to do things for you if you're ready for it. For me, it was quite a big jump, right? To leave the corporate rat race and move into entrepreneurship, doing things on my own. And while I had bills to pay, I had to sort of take care of a child. It wasn't an easy one for me. But what I sort of had to do was a lot of internal work to be ready for it, right? A lot of us in full-time jobs sort of struggle with this idea because there's a fat paycheck coming to you every month. You're used to a certain amount of money coming to you. You're also used to living a certain way of life. You have a routine and you have accountabilities, right? Somebody is accountable. You're accountable to someone. There's a boss that's going to ask you, काम किया कि नहीं. But this transition was difficult. This jump was difficult for me. But the learning that I had is that, if I truly believed in the jump, then, and if I made it, then there is also a larger universe that's going to support me if I put in the kind of work that I need to put in. So I think it's a fair balance. So I think over a period of years, Bhavesh, I've kind of learned to balance, that internal willpower with the external universe supporting me in receiving what I need to do. So for me, I think it was an interesting jump to sort of leave that and start doing something afresh. And I think when I started doing things on my own, right, I had a lot of learnings. I had a lot of learnings. I think, Bhavish, the number one learning, and you'd probably agree with that, is, like I said, when you don't have a boss asking you कि आपने ये किया या नहीं, self accountability, self responsibility are very difficult, right? You're like, अच्छा आज थोड़ी देर और सो लेते हैं, let's just do this tomorrow. So I think when I talk about internal learnings, discipline, self discipline is something that I've learned over a period of time, right? I've also learned to manage stuff on my own. And because you don't have a team, right, initially when you're on your own, so you got to manage your social media, you got to manage your finances, you got to manage your invoices, like the dirty job that you don't want to do. How do you get up and do it? So I have learned to overcome procrastination and self discipline, right? I have learned a lot about networking, which a job didn't teach me that much, right? So there's a lot of, I mean, how do you reach out to strangers and do that? So there's been a lot of work that I've done internally in terms of overcoming my fears, disciplining myself, and truly believing in what I want to do. I think these are three things that I sort of learned internally. And externally, there's been a lot of learning, right? Because there's so many opportunities. Which one to pick? What is the right time to pick? Should I pick it or not? Am I willing to take the risk or not? If the risk is not working out, what do I do? So I think as we explore some facets of my journey, we'll discover those. Yeah. So that has been my set
Very
of learnings.
interesting. Very interesting. I remember this instance where people normally talk about do you really want to do it just because everyone is doing it? And as an entrepreneur, I think sometimes it's walking on a very tight, thin rope.
Yeah.
And balancing that is very, very, important, especially when it's a battle between a mind and a heart, right? So that's the toughest battle which you fight internally to start with, and then you go out and fight the external battles or the outside battles. So I think, as you rightly said, it is very important to have that self-discipline, and more important is, accountability. As a first time entrepreneur as an entrepreneur, or
Mm.
you are a president and a peon, and the journey
Exactly.
is very, very challenging. Donning multiple hats is good, but at the same time, multitasking also sometimes leads to mind blocks.
Yeah.
Is something that I also believe in that. So, as an entrepreneur, you have changed lanes and have broken many cliches in your journey. And I believe I know one instance where where we had a very interesting discussion about how society looks up to you, and when you are trying to do things, that finding purpose ka jo cliche hai, I think I clearly distinctly remember that. Could you just tell us more about this transformation?
Right. So, when I sort of moved out of my corporate job, in those days I used to read a lot of Robin Sharma. By the way, I love his books, and authors of those sorts, and they all talk about what is your purpose, what is it that you really want to do, what makes your heart sing, why are you even alive on this planet. Find that one thing. And that one thing, I tell you, Bhavesh, actually left me entangled. Okay. And I'll tell you what happened. So I come from a Gujarati family. Okay. And we're all business focused people. And मुझे लगा मेरे अंदर business का कीड़ा है. Like I'm a born business woman, and I can just launch a business right away. And it was back then that I was also learning about feminism, patriarchy, and there was this idea that I had that let's just start a community of women, that is going to support each other. Very powerful thought, good intention, but it, I think, was not concrete. It was not tangible, right? And it was extremely aspirational. I think anything aspirational also needs to be tangible. And I think that's been one of my biggest learnings, right? So my purpose, I thought, was to create this community. And I still have a lot of love and reverence for that. Who knows, someday I might just revive the community. It's called Expressor. And I did like a big launch of it. I had Ronnie Screwvala who launched my business. I had no coding experience, but I said, I'm a woman on a mission. I'm going to do this, and this is my purpose. And I really put myself out there. I even mortgaged some of my gold, to get that app out. And it was a very, very difficult journey. It was like carrying a baby, but I didn't have a concrete plan. I didn't have a coding co-founder, a tech co-founder. I had all the skills that I needed. I was great at networking. I knew how to bring people to, convince them to support me with stuff. But if you don't have the skills and the capital initially, how are you going to do it? But this whole purpose thing was something on the back of my mind. No, I have, my purpose is to launch that community, be the largest community for women in the world. Oh my god, if you're going to have that kind of a purpose, you're, where is the plan? And if you have no baby steps, you're setting yourself up for failure. Then I kind of started, and the venture didn't take off. It did, and I couldn't sustain it. Launching a social network is a huge task. I had a baby to raise. I was battling my divorce. I had so much going on in my life, and I had bills to pay. And that's when, I also got into a spiritual journey, Bhavesh. And while I was on that journey, I kind of realized that there's a lot more to this word purpose than we make it to be. I think there's a lot of marketing algorithms that are forcing us to look for a niche and a purpose. There are a lot of marketing gurus that say, find that niche, find that niche. But I am an unplugged person. I find my purpose in so many areas, and my purpose is to take whatever skills I have in the most tangible format to the world and serve in whatever way I can, is what I've realized now. But back then it was like, wo ek cheez ko pakdo, and I got entangled in it, Bhavesh. And at some point I was like, oh my God, now if I, shut down Expressor, then what? What happens to the 2,000 friends I have on Facebook? Now I'm laughing about it, Bhavesh, and I'm so cool about it. But back then, it was a pressure I carried, a load that I carried. Log kya bolenge? Like she's a failure. She doesn't have clarity. She doesn't know what she wants to do. Then I thought maybe, talking about spirituality and just focusing on mental health is my purpose. And I kind of got entangled in that. So I think we take our purpose story very, very seriously. Yes, it's important to have tangible results as a niche, but don't get stuck in it, because if you get stuck in it, you'll get sucked into it.
Correct. So I think somewhere down the line, if I decipher what you said is, it's good to find your purpose, but let the purpose also find you. Is that
Yeah.
what can be said that because many times, as you rightly said, ki you try to find your purpose, but is it really your true calling or your true purpose? It's like a match, right? The purpose also needs to match with
Yeah.
your skill sets, with what you are doing, with what you want to do, right? Sometimes वो हमको कुछ कर जाने की तमन्ना and वो change लाने की तमन्ना brings us a very and keeps us very entangled. If I remember, if I have to decipher that, so I think it's a very brilliant way. And what you also said is right, right? People try to find their purpose, and उसमें usko decode करने में they become very entangled. Uh,
Bhavesh, I know people that feel lost if they don't have a purpose. They're like, I'm not good enough for the world. How can I not have a purpose? It's become such a big facade. And a lot of entrepreneurs are now coming with this story that, fine, an entrepreneur needs to have experienced a problem and they wanted to solve that problem, right? But if the moment you sort of make that into this big fat purpose that you're living your life for, you can get sucked into it. And there's a very thin line. You got to be careful.
Right, absolutely. I think that is what I also have experienced with most of the entrepreneurs and the startup that I talk to. They try to chase the problem, and instead of chasing the problem, I would say you've understood the problem. Can you find out a solution rather than making it problem solving? Make it solution oriented. If the moment you bring simplicity into what people are facing, and accessibility to that, I think you've already solved the problem, right?
Yeah.
तो प्रॉब्लम को ढूंढो मत, उसको थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाई करने की कोशिश करो, अपने आप सॉल्व हो जाएगा. So it's a catch 22 kind of a
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
as well. Coming to my next question, right? You are a change maker who works on gender stereotyping, and you also have a podcast called Beyond Cliche. What's the story behind this? How did it start?
Okay, so story behind it is, when Expressor wasn't happening, but Expressor was the stepping stone that put me on a lot of feminist conferences, a lot of feminist forums. I traveled Southeast Asia, attended conferences, met people, networked. And when that was happening, I also got a call from an application, actually, is what I applied for, a program called She Creates Change from change.org, right? So they bring about 30 women change makers in a lab. They put them through a 5-day training program, and it's been a life changing one for me. So I applied for this, I got through, and I was in the program with change.org. And that's when I kind of realized that there was a change maker within me. I wanted to change the world, and I didn't really need to have a community called Expressor to change it. I probably had more to offer. And like you said, you can take what you want to do and combine it with your skill set and let your purpose find you. I think I am a case study of that, right? So gender is something that really excited me. And when I went to the lab, I realized that I had a purpose as far as change making was concerned, and I could make that tangible, and it was quick and easy. So in the lab, I got a lot of tools to kind of identify a space that I could make a change in. And that's where the whole change maker journey started. I finally got something that I could do well with, and it was tangible for me. So I realized I was probably not cut out to be an entrepreneur running a business in a community, but I was a self-employed entrepreneur that could do so much, combining my passion for change making and the skills that I had. So I think I'm an example of someone who did that. So that's when I sort of launched my first petition. And this petition was very, very simple, but it was very impactful. I realized over a period of time through my own spiritual journey is that, this whole idea of feminism is quite skewed in so many places, right? It is not the other gender that is the issue. It is the patriarchal construct that is an issue. And it is the way we are raising kids, and that needs to change. And with that progressive thought, I kind of launched my first petition where I asked the makers of Chota Bheem, the cartoon, if you've seen it, right? There's a very typical gender stereotypical character called Chutki, with two chotis, pink blush on, and she's kind of tiptoeing around Beam, and her mother tells her, "Don't climb trees." So my petition was, I asked the makers of Chota Bheem to give Chutki her own TV show and stop gender stereotyping. I think in about 8 days we had some 10,000 signatures. Midday and Times
Wow.
covered it on their front pages on Women's Day, and they came back and they said we're doing a Chutki TV show. I would love to see that happen. I'm still following up with them to ensure that show happens. The Green Gold Animation, which is Chota Bheem production house, they have a viewership of 40 million viewers. So the impact is huge, if we're sort of asking them to break a gender stereotype. So that sort of made me realize that change is possible. Change is totally possible. And that's when I kind of also realized I want to do some work on gender stereotyping. So that became my new purpose, by the way, gender stereotyping karna. But this time I was sure I want to do something tangible, right? And by then I had also discovered that I have this skill set of being able to talk, which was very inherent, which I largely missed. I was always in love with the mic. I married the mic when I was 11 years old when I gave my first speech. And it was a great opportunity to go back to the mic. So that's when I contacted IVM, the leading podcasting company, and I became a host with them. They got me on board. They loved my idea. And I launched this podcast called Beyond Cliche, where every week I interview a guest who's broken a gender stereotype. And I kind of covered a whole lot of people from both genders, right? So women that broke gender stereotypes in their profession, to even men who broke stereotypes. So it's been a good journey. In fact, we've hit the season finale as we speak. So yeah, it's a very emotional moment for me. But yeah, that's been my podcasting journey with gender stereotypes. By the way, I have a second petition that's on, and this is for anyone that's watching this show. It's called hashtag Papa Pampers 2. So I'm asking Pampers, the leading diaper company, who's a worldwide dominant company in the space of diapers. I'm asking them to make a permanent change. I would like them to include the father's image along with the mother's image on the diaper wrapper. There are a lot of fathers that are changing diapers, they don't get representation. We don't have representation of inclusive fatherhood, and there are no real examples. Every ad will feature a mom. YouTube tutorials feature mom changing diapers. So I want that narrative changed completely. I want a Bhavesh to walk into a supermarket with his wife and see that diaper package with the father and the mother together. So that's my next petition, and we are very close to victory, I hope.
Oh, fabulous. I think it is necessity, Alman, because I firmly believe, right? As a father, when my kid was just growing up and it was a baby, I used to walk in a store and I used to see mother and a daughter or a son, right, on the diaper. And I used to feel, why not me? I mean, I also do the same thing. And
Yeah.
I think it is somewhere, I think society, as you rightly said, is the skewed one, right? We talk about pink and blue. I think, why do you want to start with that? I think that's a great example. And I think, as you rightly said, Chota Bheem and Chutki character with such a huge viewership. And I think the viewership is the younger generation, right?
Yeah.
I think the impact on the mind itself,
It's huge.
it's huge. Right from those pink and blue to even those stereotypes. I think if you look around, and if I have to relate this to what you are onto, I think it's a phenomenal thing, and it's the need of the hour, because
Yeah.
everywhere you would maybe put your eyes and you will see similar kind of things, right? So, for example, the soap advertisements, right?
Hmm.
The even the toothpaste advertisements at a lot of time, even food advertisements, most of the time it is shown as women doing that, and that is where I think this stereotype is a big challenge in the society. And it's I don't know, what I am very happy is, especially the two things that you mentioned about. One is, how are you going to fight this battle and make sure that that change needs to be done, even if it's minuscule. I think it becomes a great history,
Hmm.
and it can be a great case study of how, when you're talking about gender equality, when you're talking about gender diversity, all these things do matter.
Mm.
You
You
know,
know, Bhavesh, one thing that this whole change.org journey has taught me is that you don't always have to go out and do something very big to change the world. Something very specific, something very tangible, something very small can have a huge impact. Sometimes we're just so stuck with मुझे कुछ बहुत बड़ा करना है. It's a small petition. I'm asking Pampers to change their diaper cover.
correct.
People may laugh about it, but I know it's a very specific, tangible change that can have a huge impact in the narrative change in the minds of people. So yeah, that's what it is.
I think it also balances the whole idea of I would say parenthood. It's not just motherhood or fatherhood. I think it's the parenthood,
Yeah.
right? So though I always say women don't need empowerment. Don't talk about empowerment. I think why do you want to empower someone? You just need to support them. We all are empowered in our own true sense. All we need to do is awaken that our own individual self, the power that we have. And I think we are blessed to have a life. We are blessed to be a humankind. When I talk, that's why I will never talk about mankind or womankind.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right. That's how you bring that change, as you rightly said. That humankind, is good. Every time I see a lot of people referring as he, why not it or them, or be more neutral towards
Yeah.
thing. And that actually brings up to my next question to you. So you are an author of an upcoming book on 11 Indian women change makers. What is this book all about, and what inspired you to take this particular path?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question very specifically because this is entrepreneurship related. So now we have to go back to my journey, okay, and think about Expressor. So I wanted to build a community which had multiple features and app. And the first feature that I had launched was Express Her Stories. And I wanted to capture women's stories, right? So that idea, that thought was there, Bhavesh. What I'm doing now, 5 years later, 4 years, 4.5 years later, is I'm combining my skill set with what I wanted to do. So I anyway wanted to do a series of Expressor books back then with women's stories, right? And when this idea came along, so a fellow change maker, she reached out to me and she said, I have this brilliant idea of covering women change makers from the She Creates Change program. Why don't you do it? And I was like, this is a long lost dream. I would love to do it. So I would say Expressor Stories is back. And, the name and the title are not important, but the entrepreneur in me has found a different paths to the same thing using my skill set. So this book is about 11 women Indian change makers. They are all a part of this program called She Creates Change that I spoke to you about. They're fellow change makers. And these are basically stories about these women, right? How does a woman become a change maker? How does anybody become a change maker? So it's not really about the changes that they brought, but it's their entire life. What were the shadows that they had to embrace to bring light into this world? And it's very diverse. So I have someone who's 16 years old trying to bring about a change in the environment, to a 55-year-old woman trying to fight passport policy rights. So there is a mixed combination of women, and not all of them are born activists, or they are not all people that have NGOs. They're regular women. And it's been quite a journey, Bhavesh. I think I've been on this book for a year and a half, and that's where it taught me self-discipline to a large extent. So finally, the book is, in the manuscript phase. It's been edited, and we're going through some approvals to get it out soon.
Fantastic. I think it's going to be an exciting book, because something which might be a minuscule thing to start with, but the kind of impact and the kind of change it can bring, I think it's going to be wonderful. Wishes to
Thank you. I
you.
think it's also a prototype for a writing business that I'd want to continue, right? So I now know the entire process of getting a book out with one of the most leading bookstores in this country, and the best publishing houses. I've crossed that journey, Bhavesh, and as an entrepreneur I've learned a lot. Now taking this prototype to the next level is going to be super easy for me, and I'm excited about that.
Fantastic. So, as I decipher, you anyways wanted to bring that change, right? It doesn't need a community approach.
Exactly.
And I think that's a brilliant example of how do you discover your purpose in the first place and then go ahead and achieve that.
Yeah. So
think
I
this
had
is
my
a
voice. I had the mic, I had the voice, and I had my pen. And interestingly, I wanted to do Expressor mic and Expressor pen, and I am Expressor. I've kind of used my own skills to sort of create my own entrepreneurship here.
Absolutely. I think discovery of purpose and then aligning, to what you want to achieve. It doesn't really need to have a kind of a construct which has to be like a formula, कि आपको ये plus यही करना है तो आपको ये आएगा. I think, as I always say, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, but 3 plus 1 itself is also 4, right? It doesn't matter what path you choose. What matters is what you want to achieve at the end. So I'm kudos to you, hats off to you. I think very inspiring indeed, and I personally get inspired to listen to such kind of wonderful journeys because it teaches a lot to all of us. I think learning is a never-ending process. So you're geared to launch your upcoming second podcast, as you mentioned, and a coaching program is what I also understand around that. What is this exciting thing that you are now onto?
Right. So, Bhavesh, I'm transitioning to take my, writing, speaking, coaching skills, which is the entrepreneurship space that I have, to full time. So, first of all, very important is that we don't quit our day jobs, right? So, I still do a lot of corporate training. That's how I pay my bills, right? And that's very, very important. So while that is happening, I'm sort of also building the other blocks that I need so that I'm able to generate the kind of revenue that I need to run my bills full time without having to do the corporate training. Right. So I've done my first podcast. My second podcast is where I also want to look at monetization and I want to see how I can build more revenue out of it. And this podcast is actually called Unplugged. Okay, and so it's Unplugged with Almaz. And these are going to be a series of raw conversations, unplugged conversations that I have either with myself or people around me, right? So I think I have covered a lot of, I'm a storyteller. I love interviewing people. I love meeting people. And I think I've also heard a lot of interviews where people cover famous people. People interview inspiring stories, famous people, motivators, people that have achieved big things in life. But I would also like to interview some people that have really unplugged themselves from the mainstream life, because I'm an unplugged soul, Bhavesh. मैंने हमेशा अपनी मर्जी की है, और I followed my heart. Now I also take my mind with it, by the way. So I'm someone that's been unplugged, and I want to have raw conversations. I want to maybe talk about a whole lot of things. So I want to talk about maybe organic food. I want to talk about Ayurveda and homeopathy, which are unplugged versions of well-being. I want to talk about how, people that are battling with diseases are leading a more unplugged life, knowing that they have little time to live. I want to talk about how we deal with shadows and how we can unplug ourselves from the darkness within into light. Right. So I want to have a lot of unplugged conversations. It's an interesting bit. You're going to know more very soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what about this coaching program that you are also coming up with?
Right. So I have been, I have been speaking, training for a very long time. So you just mentioned that 35,000 people number. It's quite humbling to hear that. But I have been talking forever. I have been teaching forever. And now I think I'm ready to sort of offer a program that is useful to people. And that is something that I can serve fully. It's something that I resonate with, something that comes naturally to me, something that I've also tried and tested. I have the prototype for that ready, and I think that's the need of the hour. So I think as an entrepreneur, I'm hitting all the right important bits and pieces here, and also something that's doable and scalable, right? So I hope I've used all the right words in the entrepreneurship
Absolutely.
domain. So yeah, so this podcast coaching course is, right now, Bhavesh, we're in a very exciting space as far as podcasts is concerned. In fact, I was just pulling out numbers yesterday, and there's been a 60% growth in the number of listeners that India is witnessing. We have 40 million podcast listeners today, okay, in India, and they're going to grow from, they've actually, the anticipation is the growth of 4 crore from 2018 to about 17 crores in 2023, right? And it's going to be a 10,000 crore business. We also have Geo Savan, who's kind of building up gear. Spotify has come to India and is doing so much more. They were already there, but they're pumping in more money, and there's a lot that is happening in India and globally as far as the podcast industry is concerned, right? And I think a lot of people want to launch a podcast, right? They feel like this is the time to do it, but they have no idea how to go about it. There's still not enough awareness on how to do it. People need that help, people need the support. And I want to be that support for them. So I'm launching a course with multiple facets built into it to be able to help you launch your podcast. That's what
Very
it is.
interesting. So this is going to be an exciting content, something very unique. I think it's a great way of also sharing the learnings and the experience I think you've had. How do people enroll for this? I mean, is there a way that they could reach out to you, people who would want to learn podcasting, and what is the right methodology of maybe pushing your voice out? And maybe, I think that's a great way to express yourself with the time that you have
Yeah.
to read or to do something. I think listening to a podcast is gearing up also, because it also stimulates your mind. So how do people reach out to you? If you could maybe, if there is there a website or an email or somewhere where they could reach out to you so that they can subscribe to this particular course?
Sure. So first, I want to share a couple of things, Bhavesh. One is, I think if you are really thinking about launching a podcast, you should not delay at all, right? There are
Okay.
multiple benefits. And since this is an entrepreneurship forum, I think every entrepreneur should look at launching a podcast for a couple of reasons. It helps you get that credibility, right? It just increases your credibility immediately, right? You can get more clients, you can grow your business, right? It
Mhm.
also helps you become a bigger influencer. It opens doors to network and collaborate, and it can also generate active and passive money for you. So podcasting is a great way to sort of do so much more as an entrepreneur. And the advantage is it's low investment. You don't really have to face the camera. It's not like YouTube. There are multiple formats, multiple platforms, and you need very few resources to get this out, right? So yeah, I would really encourage every entrepreneur to get up and start launching a podcast. Don't delay. The second thing is, Bhavesh, for those of you who know me, I'm a very transparent and authentic person. I don't want to offer fancy webinars, right, that talk about, oh, I am going to change your life, and then offer only upselling and upskilling in that upselling in that webinar. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to offer something very concrete, very tangible, that actually you can go back and implement. And I will tell you, after this, I'm going to sell you this. If you're interested, I'm happy to help. But I won't sell fancy webinars. So that I can assure you, what you see is what you get. And it will be a very methodical step by step approach to helping you launch your own podcast. We do tiny things, we do them well, and we move forward. So that's where it is. Yeah, if people want to reach out to me, you can DM me for starters. I'll give you more information. I'm actually everywhere on social media, but you can reach out to me on my Facebook DM. It's Almas Virani. I also have an Insta page, Almas Virani _1111. You can DM me there about this course, and you can also email me, coachalmas@gmail.com.
Fantastic. So let me read it out once again, if you could hold
Sure.
on to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Sure,
So
sure.
it's launch your podcast, join the course now, DM Almas Virani on Facebook. Your Insta handle is ALMASVIRANI _1111. And your email ID is coachalmas@gmail.com. It's COACHALMAS@gmail.com. Fantastic.
Yeah, and we
Thank
want
you.
to do like pretty much everything, right? From, how do you validate your idea and get the right idea, the title, the description, your branding, the collaterals that you need, what is the equipment you will need, how do you produce and edit a podcast, how do you market it, how do you upload it, like pretty much everything that you need, but step by step without any fancy marketing faff.
Without strings attached. आप पहले ये खरीदो, हम बाद में आपको मिलियनर बनाएंगे.
हाँ, हम आपको बेचेंगे, ऐसा नहीं है, बट बोलकर बेचेंगे और फैफ नहीं बेचेंगे.
No, I think it's a great way. I think, as an entrepreneur, you need to be selling. I always
Yeah.
believe that, if you're not selling, you're
We
not an
just did
entrepreneur.
that.
Exactly. And I think that's the best way to do it. If you're an entrepreneur, in fact, Almas, I'll tell you the fact about this Billion and Diva show itself is we don't want to talk about stories, honestly. It's good to hear inspiring stories, no doubt about it. And no offense to, story platforms who are really bringing that essence out of, inspiration. But I think at the end, and it's nothing about being a business person, or I think I remember someone mentioning about one of the India's richest entrepreneur or a business person. He purely believes that every second counts, and every second actually counts, because if it does not make money for you, if you are a businessman, then you don't need to be in business.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very clear thing. And second thing, I think it's integrity and honesty in doing business is
Yeah.
also very critical, because somewhere down the line, I believe that is, if you are putting, yourself on stake, and if you're requesting, a remuneration or any kind of monetary
Yeah.
benefit, I think it's a great way to talk about it.
Yeah.
And business आपने उसीलिए चालू किया है क्योंकि आप पैसे कमा सको. There's nothing wrong about it. Unless it is, if it's not ethical, then it's a challenge. Unless you're doing something wrong, then it's not the right approach. But if you're doing it ethically, if you're making sure that it's adding value, I always talk about that, right? Value will create valuation, right? So अगर आपको value है, तो valuation obviously आना चाहिए उसका. If you're putting money and time and energy, it is because it's not you're running a philanthropy or a NGO, right? It has to make money at the same time. Sustenance, even today, NGOs need to sustain, and there has to be make some way to make money also, because you have bills to pay, you have to put food on your table, you have to feed your family, you have to take care of a lot of things. And as an entrepreneur, I think I would agree to you. A podcast is a great way, or for a startup also, a podcast is a great way to talk about things that you are doing and things that you're adding value. So I mean, hats off to you. I think I am going to surely enroll. I never thought that I might want to get into a podcast, but I think it's a great way.
You should. You should. You'll discover it's a huge space, and it's like I said, it's a sunrise industry. So, अभी तो party शुरू भी नहीं हुई है.
Absolutely. I think as we speak, I think we should maybe see how we could collaborate between Billion Divas and yourself, where we could reach out to a lot of women entrepreneurs as well. So I mean, this is just a thought that just popped into my mind. I'm happy to cover that also in this, so that it reaches out to a larger audience.
Yeah, please do, please do. I'm telling you, it's going to have a whole lot of benefits to every woman entrepreneur that's starting a podcast.
Wonderful. Do send us those details, and I will make sure that we will promote it and publish it on our platforms as well. Let it benefit to the masses, because as I said, this show is all about how can people learn some new skills or discover themselves, right? So this is all about go out and sell yourself. That's what you're all about as an entrepreneur. So wonderful. It's been a very enthralling and a learning experience. And I always, at all the interviews that I do personally, I do take a few, cues out of it. And it's always a great way to meet people who are not just inspiring. That's not really the objective, but also can you learn from them? And I'm always, honored to connect with you, talk to you, discuss, debate, and learn as well, right? So before we end this amazing discussion, and we will definitely reconnect to maybe a next interview that I would look at doing with you. I wanted to, ask you one small favor in terms of a message that you would want to give all our divas and divas across the globe. What would that be?
And that's a big one and a heavy one. Um, so there, the one thing that I want to tell women is don't get caught in the peer pressure. Yeah. So there's just so much focus on we all need to go out and be entrepreneurs and we rush into it, right? Take your time, know what you're doing, launch a prototype, do something specific, validate it, build your support systems, build your internal muscles and your external muscles, and then go for it. Just go for it and be you. Do what you can do best. Just because someone else is changing the world out there doing a million things, you don't want to follow that. Be you. What is it that you can do and you want to do? So there are two things, right? What you can do and what you want to do. If you can combine those two together and do something specific initially, it's going to give you the momentum to keep going forward. So yeah, that's my little message.
Fantastic, fantastic. So once again, Almas, thank you so much. Really honored and delighted to have you, and thank you for sparing your valuable time, and not only the time but also the learnings. And yes, the podcast, the work that you are doing in bringing that much needed change in the society, whatever small way. I think everything starts small, and then it becomes a momentum. It becomes a history, is what I would want to summarize. So thank you so much for joining the Billion Divas show. Uh, and to all our viewers, do tune into our YouTube channel for such amazing, inspiring talks that we keep doing with inspiring women entrepreneurs. We're also going to be coming up with a lot of different shows for co-founders. We are going to be talking about, another very clear aspect of how he supports she. I think, we have been talking about women entrepreneurship for
Hashtag
about.
Papa Pampers too. When Papa's changing diapers at home, we will have more mothers stepping out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's what I think we should be all doing as well, right?
Yeah,
So,
a lot of work is required there, Bhavesh, for sure.
absolutely. Let's do that, in smaller ways, in smaller bits. And do also join Billion Divas community. We have opened up our memberships. There are individual memberships and corporate memberships. So do join in. We guarantee you that you will definitely see the kind of value that we want to bring. We want to bring change, be it individually, be it collectively. What matters is, can we together achieve and do our bit to the society as well. So once again, thank you. Take care and have a wonderful life ahead.
Thank you, Bhavesh.